Oh, cool. Thanks everybody for being here. While we're getting set up, if you just want to drop in the chat what market you serve, uh, where you're from, just want to put something fun about yourself. Being cool. All right, Brian, Dustin, Calgary. Oh, Stacy, the Rockets in the house. Hey, Stacy, can I make you a host so you can run the show if we need you?
Yes, I just have to
Cool,
cut
thank
out
you.
at 10 of the
Okay.
hour. Okay.
Oh, we'll be done before then.
Okay. Whatever
Uh,
you need.
we wanted 29 minutes. All right. All right. We got quite a few people here. So please mute so we don't have those weird sounds. Don't yell at your spouse. Well, you can just do it on mute. Um, all right. Cool. Some Scottsdale. Hey, Alex. Thanks for being here. Cool. All right. Well, we wanted to do this in 29 minutes or less, so we're going to get started. So thank you everybody for being here. We're doing this course for the next 6 weeks, Tuesdays. Like I said, 29 minutes or less. But let's talk about it real quick. What we're going to accomplish, what we're going to go over, and the thought process behind what's going on. So, um, Art of Flying Solo. My name is David Matthews. You'll see in the middle of this slide here, we have this flow chart of design, plan, build, test. So everything we do is going to be built on this foundation. We're going to test it last once it's fully built out. What we see a lot of agents do is they have this idea, they think they know how they're going to do it, they start to build it, they test it in the middle of the build out and it doesn't work and they abandon it, and then they've wasted all of that time. So what we're really going to work on is making sure we can see projects from start to finish, so that our businesses really see the results of those efforts. And then from there, we're going to be focusing on maximizing profit, embracing the solo mindset. Solo mindset isn't a fixed mindset. It's going to be very fluid on what solo means to you. But really, what this isn't for is for people who are trying to build mega teams, 100-person staff, anything like that. I really want to focus on agents who have a good, strong, solid foundation and they want to grow a little bit, but they don't have those goals of having huge conglomerates. And then lastly, we're just going to work on mastering our systems. So let's go into it here. There we go. All right, so here's the roadmap. Today, we're going over getting our mindset right. After that, we're going to design the business, work on client systems, work on marketing, work on mastering our time and efficiency, talk about scaling without a team, what that means to you, what it doesn't mean to you. And then on the seventh week, we'll have Q&A, implementation. And the next 5 weeks, we're going to have some other agents on who are really great at certain things, and they're going to be sharing what works for them, what doesn't work, so that we can all take some ideas from them. And then at the end of today, I'm going to have a QR code for a WhatsApp group. I would love everyone to join the group and share. We're going to have a little bit of homework, but it's not going to be crazy. Just a couple things that we can be working on together throughout the week. So I'll have that at the end for everybody. Okay, so first, before we get into it, I wanted to share who I am, what I do, what makes me tick. And I asked ChatGPT to make my avatar. And if you're worried that AI is replacing us, it might, but today it's not going to. So the avatar I'm going to show you, I didn't edit, I didn't change anything. This is literally what it gave me. Uh, says Chinese male real estate agent. So you know me. Obviously, I'm not Chinese. I'm married into an Asian family, but that's not me. And this is the most of what ChatGPT was able to figure out about me, even though I've been in and out of it for many years. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get ChatGPT to write this because it doesn't even know who I am. So I want to share with you who I am. So, licensed 2007, right before the Great Recession, served as the employment broker for Real in Colorado. Personally, I average about 25 to 30 transactions a year. My focus is my sphere, geo farm, and agent to agent referrals. And then I love snacks. That's just my jam. Like if you want me to do something, if you send me a little food, I'll do whatever you want. But I want to share why I put this photo in here. So this photo is a closing that I had. These are some of my most favorite clients, Chris and Shelly. And I met them through my geofarm efforts. And when they were ready to buy their new home, we started looking at things. Obviously, and Shelly's jam is Halloween. Like that is her holiday. Mine is Christmas. So her and I kind of go back and forth on who has the most ridiculous decorations, things like that. And when we were searching for their home, Lennar had a spec home that was ready for closing on October 31st. So when I found that out, I was like, Shelly, we don't even have to look at this home. This is your house. It's closing on Halloween. Like, what else do you need to know about it? Just buy it. I knew that the floor plan was going to work for them, so I figured they were going to buy it anyway. But we looked at it. They decided to buy it, and as we were moving through the purchase process, she was like, "Oh my God, can we please wear our Halloween costumes the day of closing?" And I was like, hell yeah, we can. Like, what do you want to be? So this picture is the day of closing. She wore her jack-o'-lantern on her head. I wore a blow-up pig costume. Her husband had a mask, but he took it off for the photo. And we did our final walkthrough. I walked through Lennar Title in Louisville on the last day of the month. There was a bunch of other closings happening in this loud blow up costume, and she wore her jack o' lantern. And I share this story, of course, because it's funny, but behind that is 10 years ago, if you would have told me that I would have given myself permission to wear a costume to closing or show up in this professional atmosphere with a fan and a blow up costume, I would have told you you're crazy. And today is all about changing mindset. You can embrace whoever you want to be, whatever market you want to serve, whatever demographic is going to be your jam. You can do that. My demographic is people who get me, people who want to have fun, people who are sarcastic. I am not here. I can't serve the people who are super tight-laced and want to have proper conversation all the time. Like that's just not my jam. I can't connect with them. And so the second that we free ourselves from all the people that we can't service or don't want to service and start focusing on and dialing in on the clientele that make us happy, a lot of these concepts that we're going to go over will free up. It'll be so much easier to start building the business that we love and that we're excited about every day. And if you want to wear Halloween costumes, do it. If you don't want to wear anything, well, I think you have to wear some clothes to keep your real estate license, but you can do whatever you want. And that's all I wanted to share before we rolled into this. So that's me. This is my fun stuff. Stacey, thank you for agreeing with me. I know you like to have fun. I like to watch all your videos. Um, okay, so let's talk about solo, why it's a powerful choice, and how we're going to move through this. So, first thing is, like I said, solo is not a just one man shop. I mean, by definition, it probably is, but it's going to be a very fluid term for us. So, solo is you're in charge. You get to run this however you want and what it means for you. So, my first two big things when you decide that solo is what we're going to focus on, it gives you the freedom to do exactly what you want and the control to do exactly what you want. Once you make that decision, you've got all the freedom. It also creates pressure, and the pressure of everything's on you. So, if it gets screwed up, it's your fault. It's nobody else's fault. And you've got to make sure that you see it all the way through, which is good. And I prefer to be the person under pressure who has to get things done because I know it'll be done to my standard. And then it also creates an opportunity for scalability, however you want to do that. So once you get your foundation in place, and then if you decide, hey, I'm ready to go from 15 to 30 transactions or from 10 to 15, you get to decide exactly how that looks and you get to do some A and B testing and figure it out. But you're not going to be forced into a situation where you don't love what you're doing, it costs you more than you think it's worth, or it stresses you out financially. So also I love friends. So that's why I have all these fun gifts in here. So all right, so let's talk about the myth. The myth that we're hearing from every large coaching company, and really anybody, if you go in any Facebook group, it's that you have to grow a team to succeed. And that's how it feels. That's how the pressure from the industry is right now. But the truth of the matter is, the success of your individual business, my business, is not defined by the head count. And more importantly, it's not defined by the management responsibilities that we have and the babysitting that we're doing. So we just need to like release that today. Um, and how are we going to do that? So this is where we turn into a little bit of a counselor therapy session. We have to really overcome that external pressure. So I acknowledge that the industry's position is really pushing towards team building, and that's not for me. But I just have to just acknowledge that. And then I have to also acknowledge that my goals and my values are valid. And this sounds really like woo-woo, I get it. But ultimately, how I run my business and the three guiding values I have and my goals, they're mine. And that's what's going to drive me and move forward. And then lastly, we have to embrace the confidence to define success on my terms. Um, and this is, or my terms and your terms are going to be different. And this is what I really wanted to like dive in on this slide. I've been to so many masterminds over the years, so many, small groups, big groups, and we have a team leader on the stage saying, "Hey, I've done 100 transactions. This is what we do." And then somebody has a question and they're an individual agent, a solo agent, and they always start the question with, "I'm just a solo agent," or "I just did 10 deals," or and they like shrink themselves vocally in front of everybody because they're not this team leader. And they don't just say it with pride. "This is what I do. This is who I am. This is how I operate. And I have a question about how you operate your business because I might want to do that." So I don't want anybody to talk to anybody. And when you describe yourself by saying, "I just do this," or "I'm brand new," or "I just closed my first deal," because when you say "I just," you're like shrinking yourself. Like, just be confident with who you are and what you're looking for. Um, cool. Thanks, Selena. Your chat distracted me there. Let's go to the next one. So, how are we going to do that? So developing the confidence for your path, the first thing you've got to do is focus on what your zone of genius is. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but that's going to be something that you really want to start to think about. Think about what you're really good at, what you enjoy doing. Celebrate the impact that you can make as a solo agent. So I know that my impact is huge with my private clients because I'm so personal with them. That is what I do. I know that Chris and Shelly, every time I see them, they're always talking about, "Remember when you wore your pig costume?" Or whatever, they make a referral in a text message chain, they share that photo. Those people are my people. And so that is my impact that I'm able to make. And then the last thing is solo, like I said, it's not a defined term, it's fluid. It doesn't mean small and it doesn't mean limited. So we have to like just release that today. But let's talk about zone of genius. So what does this mean? Zone of genius is what you're really good at and what you really want to be good at, and what you enjoy being good at. So it's those three concepts. And I'll tell you, my zone of genius, it took me a long time to figure it out. My brain is wired different than, I mean, I would say probably 90% of the people on this call, even. The way that I think about things, the way that I perceive things, and the way that I solve solutions is so different. I don't have the same train of thought as most people. And so now that has become my zone of genius because I can look at an issue, I can look at a problem, and have such a different perspective that I can usually help people through it. And it's not because I'm smarter. I mean, I barely graduated high school. So it's clearly not that. It's just that my brain is different. So that has become my zone of genius. And now that I am able to articulate that to my clients or the agents in Colorado who are having deal problems, we're able to move through things. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way." And my zone of genius used to be the thing that hindered me because I could not explain my thought process correctly. I couldn't get them to understand my train of thought because my train didn't fit on their tracks and I couldn't explain it to them. So when you're thinking zone of genius, you really got to think about what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what you want to be good at. And then you can really use that as something that catapults your business. Sorry, I'm using this new slide deck, so it's hard for me to transit. It's a little weird. Okay, so moving on from zone of genius. So let's talk about how we balance our ambition and our fulfillment. So once you've identified what your zone of genius is, you're going to start talking about what success looks like for you. And this isn't just real estate. This isn't just what your home life looks like. Success is all encompassing. For me, my success is that I hit my transaction goal, I hit my financial goal, I have a date night once a week, and I'm hitting my retirement goal every month or every quarter. And if I miss that goal or that deposit, I am doing something to make sure that I'm making up for it in the next 6 months or something like that. Uh, and how do we do that? So we strive for a balance between our financial goals and personal happiness. And then we build the business that supports our life, not the other way around. Most single agents or solo agents, what we see happen is they do 10 or 12 deals, which is when you're on your own, that's a lot of business. And they want to go to 15 or 20, and then their personal life starts to suffer or their marriage starts to suffer and their relationships suffer because they don't have a really good foundation on how they're going to serve that business. So then they get frustrated, they give up, they take a few steps back. So that's why, building, planning, and testing all has to happen first for that foundation. And your mindset of being a solo agent who can do this will really help push you through those rough patches so that your business doesn't take over your life. I don't know why this isn't moving here. Sorry, one second. There we go. Okay, so let's talk daily mindset practices. So again, we're going back to like the therapy, counsel, woo-woo stuff. To really get the really strong foundation in place, you've got to have a good daily mindset practice. And the way that I do this is in three ways. So at the end of the day, I reflect on my wins, big or small. And in our business, I mean, let's just be honest. This business is tough. Like it's really hard. So some days when you're running this business, you have a huge win where you close the biggest transaction you ever closed, you deposit the largest check you've ever deposited, you want a listing, and then some days are just a complete train wreck. And you know, you just hope that nothing else goes wrong by 4 o'clock that day. So you really have to figure out what the wins are on those bad days to help you move forward. So most of the time on those really bad days, the win is that you didn't mow somebody down in the crosswalk because you hate them. And it's okay to celebrate that you didn't kill somebody if that's your win for the day. That just can't be every day. The next thing is you start your day with your affirmations. And so, what I'll challenge you to do is just start a Google Doc, writing your affirmations every day. Some people think that your affirmations have to be speaking as if they've already happened, like I have $1 million in the bank, or I enjoy traveling to Tahiti or whatever that is. And then other people think that you have to talk about it in a future tense, like I will travel to Tahiti, I will have $1 million in the bank. I don't have a preference on that. I think whatever you can put for your affirmation that you actually believe is what you should be doing. And then lastly, you need to ask yourself the DBQ, which is the do better question. And this is where you have to be really, really honest with yourself. And this is where it gets kind of ugly. So the do better question is a Sharon concept. And when you ask yourself do better, what's your do better question? Usually at the end of the day, the do better questions are really impactful when you've had the really bad day and your win is that you didn't kill anybody in the crosswalk that day with your car. So the do better question ultimately starts to open up your mind and going, okay, the reason why I wanted to kill that person in the crosswalk was because they were the HOA president for the listing I had and they didn't get the status letter to the title company in time. And so our closing got delayed. Okay, so my do better question is what could I do better? And as the agent, I could have made sure that the title company ordered the status letter in time because this neighborhood is tough. Or I could have prepped my sellers to make sure that they paid that fee ahead of time so that the next time or I could prep the next sellers to pay that fee ahead of time. So the next time I take a listing in that neighborhood, I'm ahead of schedule and my communication cadence is better. So the DBQ and your reflect on your wins on those bad days often coincide with each other. And when you're doing this, on a daily basis and you're being very honest with yourself, you start to realize these really small things that you can do in your business that will improve it. And you don't have to spend any money by hiring staff or, having another VA handle something for you. Oftentimes in our solo practice, there's these small things that we can be doing to just make that solo practice so much smoother. Okay. So we went over mindset. We talked about how we're going to make sure that we have our mind right. And now we have just a quick, easy assignment. Inside of your Google Doc that you're going to start doing your affirmations in, I want you to write a mission statement. And this mission statement is not to be shared with, I mean, you could share it, but we're not going to be sharing it with each other. It needs to be a mission statement on how you run your business and your life combined, because as solo practitioners, our business is a big part of our life. And then the second thing that you're going to do is identify your three core values that are going to guide you in your business through 2024 and 2025, since there's only a couple weeks up to 2024. And I would love when I share the QR code to join the WhatsApp group, if you'll drop your core values in there so that we all have an idea of what we're thinking. But also, if you share your core values, you will inspire somebody else to really start thinking how they want to operate, or they'll realize they may have missed something. So I'm going to share my core values. This is where I get a little bit vulnerable, but I think that if I share why they are my core values, it'll help everyone else. So first one is I'm the friend I want to have. Second one is I'm financially fit. And my third one is that I'm my client's best choice. So my client's best choice is a guiding core value because I don't take business that I don't want or I don't love or I'm not all in 100%. If I'm sitting at a listing appointment and they're ready to hire me and I'm ready to work with them, but I just am not vibing with them, or if I hate the way that one of them is talking to me, or I hate the way one of them talks, I'm not their best choice because there's going to be this zone of resentment the entire time. And when I said yes to them, I'm saying no to something else. So that core value of I'm my client's best choice carries me through a lot of different motions through a transaction. And the other one that's huge for me is I'm the friend I want to have. So what I mean by that is if I know you're struggling, if I know that you have something going on that you don't want to talk about, or if I know you need help, I'm just going to show up. I'm going to help you get through it. And we're never going to talk about it again because that's the friend I want to have. I want my friends to know that they can see me struggling. They can show up because I'm too proud to ask for help. They can help me through it, and we never have to talk about it again. So are the two that really guide me to make sure that I'm doing the right thing in my life and in my business. And then, of course, financially fit is that I'm making the right choices to make sure that I can hit my retirement goals. So we made it through the first one. I know it was fast. And of course, I had to share my favorite GIF again. So here's the QR code to join the Flying Solo WhatsApp group. I would love for you to join, drop your core values in there. I'm going to post the link to this recording since it was so fast to go back through it and the slide deck inside of there. And then also, I'll share the map again so you know exactly where we're going over the next 6 or 7 weeks. And on the last call is when we're just going to do open Q&A. If you're stuck on implementing something, you can jump on that. But we can't get into designing the solo business until we know what your core values are in your mission statement, because if you don't know why you're going where you're going, we can't get there. So that's why we're really going to focus on those things before we can start looking at that design. So that was super fast.
David,
Yes.
a couple things. So Nick
Okay.
has a question. What is the benefit of having a team? If you want to
Okay.
answer that.
As a team leader,
I
let's
think
see.
I think he wants to know, like if he were to build a team, what would be the benefit? What's the benefit to having it being a team owner?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things on that. I think as the industry pressure is you build a team so you can free up your time, have more money, um, and build a bigger brand, I think is the big thing. For me personally, I do have a team, so I'm sitting here talking solo, but my focus of my team is in 18 to 24 months, you have learned everything and you're off the team. I want to provide enough value that you can go fly solo or you can go copy what I'm doing or do whatever you want. So I think that the benefit is what in your heart, what do you want? What does that look like to you? I mean, Stacey, you're a team owner. What's your benefit?
Yeah, so for me, I get a lot of personal satisfaction guiding people, training them. One of my So my why is teaching people how to live their best life in a relaxed, inspired, and intentional way. And so mine is more than just money, but there is an element of financial reward as well. But most people think it's going to be major money, and a lot of times it's usually more cost than benefit. So you just have to know your numbers and know what you're getting into. So I recommend if anybody's thinking of a team that you talk to somebody who does already have a team to know what those nuances are and be prepared for it because it's not all roses, right?
Right. Not, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
And
the pressure sometimes of making sure that everything is paid is real
yeah,
scary.
it's a lot. So, but I did advise Nick that sometimes being a solo agent doesn't mean you have nobody. I suggest
Mhm.
having support staff. You alluded to that too, David, that can help you be better. Your partner is your TC. And I think my TC was my best first hire. And sometimes it's a TC, a showing specialist, or an admin. So that way you can leverage your solo business much greater. I believe you would agree with that, right, David?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one thing we're going to talk about is so like I said, solo isn't just on your own Lone Ranger. Sometimes it is you are the sales business, but you have support doing, doing things per transaction, or you have project VAs or whatever that looks like so that you can continue to do more sales. But I think the big thing that a lot of people get hung up on is um, and I'm not dogging on any coaching company or any. I've done a lot of coaching over the years, but when I go into a conference and they say, "Okay, like let's write out our business plan and our goals," and then I remember this one I was I had never made more than $250,000 a year, and so my goal was $300,000. And then the guy from the stage is like, "Okay, yell your number." Everyone yells their number, and then he goes, "Okay, add a zero to it." And everybody yells their number and everyone's screaming, right? And I'm sitting there like, $3 million? I haven't even made $300,000. How am I going to do this? Like, and then I just shut down because I wasn't fitting into that room anymore. But it wasn't because I didn't have the skill or I didn't have the passion. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. And I didn't want to be there. That wasn't the ultimate goal. So we can build these businesses that serve our goals, but give us a great personal life without having to get on a stage and scream that we want to do $10 million in GCI and feel uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, and I love what you said. Two things. One is that do what you believe, like affirm what you want based on your beliefs, because if you don't, your subconscious is just going to kill you. You know what I mean? And
Right.
there was something else that I forgot.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad you're here, Stacey. You should run the show.
Well, just to be yourself too, right? It's you
Right,
don't have
right.
to be perfect. And it was different, but it's okay. When what comes back to me, I will bring it up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but totally.
Appreciate
We
you.
we get to be ourselves in this business, which is there's not very many jobs where you can go walk into an office and just be who you are. I mean, you can't be like angry and hateful, right? But you can't be funny or sarcastic if that's your jam. There's so many rooms I don't fit into because of that, but I just have to find the right room.
I'm the
Um,
same. Excellent.
so I
All
love
right.
you. Cool. Well, we
Likewise.
are at 29 minutes. Were there any other questions that we wanted to that came up here? If you have a question, you can raise your hand or you could just unmute and then we'll just keep going for next week.
I didn't see any others, just the QR code, which you did put up there and Jennifer Ronzo posted so kindly. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Finding the schedule for the meetings.
Oh, it's going to be every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time for the next 6 weeks. And then everybody who signed up today, I'll send out a calendar reminder, email reminder. You're in my email trap now too, so you're never getting rid of me.
All right,
So
awesome. All
cool. Well,
right,
thank you for being here, Stacy, and thanks
you're
everyone. I
welcome.
hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see y'all next week. Just writing there. Hey, Lori, I don't know if you're still on. For group participation, WhatsApp is where we're going to be, but I'm also going to do an email as well. I'll send that out in the email in case you're gone, Lori. So cool. Okay, cool. Got it, Lori. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this down. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next week.